Record. Well, welcome to Schenectady today in and around the Capital Region. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. We have really a great lineup, but before we do the lineup, I want to give a big shout out to the Schenectady Airport for their big 90th celebration coming up, which is going to be on, I believe, the 29th. We have a slide for that. So there it is. We just want to thank everybody that has supported the Schenectady Airport and to go join them and help them celebrate. Our lineup today is we're going to be talking with St. Catherine's Center for Children. And also after that, we'll be talking with someone representing TEDx. If you've ever watched TED Talks, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then we're going to find out how you can take a jump out of that airplane if you'd like and raise a little money for Make-A-Wish. We'll also be talking about Tennis for Youth, and that's the 15 Love organization that is centered here in Central Park. And then if you've ever looked at that mess in the basement or that mess in that spare room, Carrie the Filing Fairy is going to tell you what you can do about that and how she can help you. And then we're going to wrap up the show learning a little bit more about how you can travel around this area without driving and having someone else take over the driving for you, and really you can just enjoy yourself and not worry about parking fees or anything. We'll be talking to Trent about that. He's with the Tech Valley Hospitality Shuttle. But right now we're going to start off with our first guest, and we have with us Frank Piniak.
Piniak, sure.
Yep.
Yep.
And he is the executive director of St. Catherine's Center for Children. And what an amazing place that is. 1886?
That's when we started, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, I know you didn't start then, but anyway. And Jackie, you're the chief operating officer as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about, first of all, it started in 1886. We have some photos. You brought some really great photos.
Right.
Let's take a look at the photos. And while we're looking at them, tell us a little bit how it started. Were
Sure.
they started by nuns or?
Well, it was the Daughters of Charities that did start St. Catherine's. And so there was an outbreak of measles, and this is in the city of Albany. And that what they needed to do was they needed to separate those children from the other children, and went to the Schuyler Mansion in the south end of Albany, and we were there until 1913. When we went to our current location at 40 North Main Avenue in Albany. And it was around 1960 when there was a period of redevelopment for the agency, to the point now we are considered one of the region's premier child welfare organizations.
I'm going to interrupt you just because we're looking at a picture here. This is class of. What is that a class of?
So there's child care technicians, learning how to work with children. Those were all nurses and people, women more specifically, that took care of the orphan babies. And this is then the first class of that. And so our history is still rooted in caring for children. Where we work with children that are physically, emotionally, sexually abused, children that we've worked with. So
not just orphans; they could be foster children.
That's correct. So in our current day and age, we don't typically use the word orphan, although many of our kids are not necessarily connected to their biological family. So we serve children who have had abuse histories that Frank mentioned. Typically, there is some family disconnect, or there's a struggle or a challenge within the family unit. So our job is really to work with the child, work with the family. Oftentimes we are working towards unification.
And I think that is the goal for like social services in many of the organizations.
It is,
right.
exactly.
Right.
We seek permanency for these children. So oftentimes we look towards the family, but There are select times when the family is not ready or not able, for whatever reason, to care for the
There
child
could
at
be
that
many
time.
reasons. It might be health. It could be health. It could be anything.
That's
Sure, that's
absolutely
right.
right. So,
That's right.
so at that point, we identify other resources for the child, and we really work towards creating a safe, stable environment for that child.
I think
So
stable is
foster
a
care.
very important word.
Yes,
That's right.
yes, for sure.
That's right.
Yes.
So foster care, adoption, kinship care, and in some cases, they stay with us in our residential program.
Okay, and so what age groups do you work with?
So we work with children between the ages of 5 and 13 in our residential program, although in our foster care program, we could serve children up to the age of 21, both boys and girls. In our school, in our residential program.
You have a school as well.
We have an elementary school. We have a K through 6 elementary school, and it's a unique situation in that it is both funded and operated by not only state education, but we also have the Office of Mental Health funding as well.
Okay, oh, that's
so
good.
there's a counseling, psychiatric component to our program that provides children with that additional support that they need in order to continue to improve academically.
How many children would you say you work with? And I'll use the word work with because some might be residential, some might be there temporarily per year. Well, just a round number.
I would say we work with nearly 2,000 children and families from 22 different school districts from 20 different counties.
Oh, wait a minute. How many counties?
20 counties. We're a regional
Oh, my goodness.
regional human service provider.
I had no idea that you had that
Yes.
reach.
Yes, so our referrals come from all over the state. One of the other things I wanted to mention is also our homeless services. So while we talk quite a bit about the families and children, we also serve adult individuals as well. So we have a Marillac, which is our family shelter.
I saw that, yeah.
And so we have 20 units, and we serve families who are unsheltered. They don't have a home at the time, so they come to us for shelter and for connection to permanent housing. But we also have permanent housing units that we have folks who are individuals also in need of housing. And I think we now have almost 70, apartments across the Capital Region where we
What
also
a huge enterprise. I mean,
provide
I use the
permanent
word
support
enterprise
housing.
loosely, but the program is incredibly large. I had no idea how extensive that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we want people to realize this.
Right.
And I'm sure your referrals come through agencies, is that correct? Or are there self-referrals?
Mostly from counties or school districts
Yep.
are our primary sources of referrals. We're not a campus-based organization. We're out in the community. We have group homes and we have site-based houses that we house people
Well,
in.
it's a healthier environment. I mean, rather than being institutionalized, so to speak.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
I think that's a key. And it's not just children's services, as Jackie just mentioned, but it's also families and individual services that we provide at St. Catherine's.
And how do you get your funding?
95%, 97% of our funding comes from contracts with local districts and school districts and counties. And a small percentage is come through generous donations of people that know us and want to continue to support our efforts. The funding that we get does not cover everything
It can't possibly.
for the children.
Right.
And so what we'd like to say is that additional funding would support more activities for the
You
children,
could
being
even
able to.
expand if you had to, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
So one of the important things about our kids is because of the difficult circumstances in which they've experienced, oftentimes they don't have the opportunity to participate in activities that some of us take for granted. Sports activities, going to the Great Escape, going to Yankees games, things that we all did growing up with our families. And so we really try to provide our children and families with that experience. So again, that state and federal funding isn't so that kids can go to the Yankee
No.
game, but we all know that that's part of childhood.
enrichment,
That's
yeah.
part of a family environment.
Yeah.
So we really use that generous donation and the wonderful sponsorships that we have in the community to provide those experiences.
And I understand you have an event coming up at the Crossings on October the 14th, which will help you raise some of that money. But if anyone would like to make a donation, they can certainly go to your website. And there's a place to click on donate and make a donation. Or do you use volunteers at all?
Yes,
Oh,
we
they
do.
love volunteers too. Doesn't
Yes,
everybody love a
we
volunteer?
We do. We have a volunteer office. Children, we have a makeover program, and essentially inviting the child in with the volunteers, and volunteers would ask the child, what's the theme of the room that you'd like? And we've had children that have wanted NASCAR and Zootopia and Frozen are some
You
of
never
those
know, right?
activities
But if
Yeah.
you
that
want
they do.
to support
So
St. Catherine's, certainly go to their website and please support them. And maybe you want to volunteer, maybe you'd like to make a donation. But it's a marvelous organization that needs your support as well as your recognition as well. We're going to take a quick break. In our breaks today, we are going to see West Larrabee over in Middleburg and see the wildlife rescue. Stay tuned.
I am at Red Maple Farm, and here we are with Wes Larrabee. Hi, Wes.
Hi, Wes Laraway.
Oh, thank you very much. All righty. So what do you have here?
I'm the director of New York Wildlife Rescue Center. We rescue over 500 domestic, wild, and exotic animals here in Middleburg, New York, every year.
All right. And today, what might we see?
You're going to
If we-
see everything from baby bats to bobcats.
And, oh my goodness, and how many different species do you have here?
Species, I don't know exactly how many different species. It depends on the year. Normally probably around 50.
Oh,
And here we are back again. And who doesn't love TED Talks? I mean, you can get lost on the internet watching TED Talks and hearing the great, just in those little snippets of 18 minutes or 10 minutes. I mean, they have a certain length of time. But what is really impressive is communities that are taking on TEDx, which are not part of TED, but they're part in a different way.
Indeed, they are part of TED. The X would suggest that you are you're running a licensed, independently organized TED. So you follow all their rules and protocols, absolutely. But then you run your own event. So
Right.
as long as you're doing everything by the
By
TED
the book,
book,
yeah.
you can really, spread your wings.
Yeah, and I love, and I know you sent me some links when you did. And I thought, well, I'll look at those, because a lot of them were young people that were doing them. They were incredibly good. I mean, I was like, I just left it on and kept letting them roll because they were so good. So you're based in right now at the Benjamin School, which is in Florida.
Yes,
West
South
Palm
Florida,
Beach,
North Palm Beach.
North Palm. But she's up here now because we're talking about perhaps getting. I know there is a TEDx going on as some two people that I know that are doing it through the library. But this is a different type that you're thinking of, and I think it deserves support.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what we have been doing the last 2 years at the Benjamin School is running a TEDx event that has featured our 7th and 8th graders. And next year, I think we're going to have the high school in it as well. But we're seeing the TEDx event itself as more the culmination of a curriculum that we've started to develop, which we've called the Soul Stories curriculum, because when you organize a TEDx event and it's for grown-ups, hopefully the grown-ups are preparing on their own,
Right.
and you're just saying, oh, I need the cameras, I need the this, you need to be here.
But these kids have to put it all together.
But these are our babies, right?
Yeah.
But they're not such little babies. They're
No.
really good. So what we did is we have started developing a curriculum for them to find their stories and tell those stories. And we've called it the Soul Stories Curriculum DNA because it's a curriculum in the classroom that disrupts and inspires them, so D and A.
Oh, I wonder where you got the DNA. Okay.
Right, but also that the stories that they tell are so intrinsic to them that they are sort of part of their genetics. So what we believe is that everybody, adult or child, has a story in them, and that story may change from day to day. But we have to find ways to honor the voices of our students, and certainly, as in your prior segment, there are so many underserved children who need to have a voice because it would be therapeutic and because they need to know people are listening to them. And I like to think of it as, you don't think of a TEDx talk. The story is in you, and that you have to be in the right place to listen to it. And so one thing that we are developing this year are mindfulness exercises and relaxation exercises, so that students can be quiet enough and filter out all these sound bites and white noise and fake news to which the world subjects them, and instead be able to listen to what they want to say. And then we love the character building portion of this curriculum, because students become so steeped in TED. You know, we show them talks by kids, for kids. You show them Al Gore and the rock star Amanda Palmer, and all of a sudden that's so cool to them. They want to be on that stage. So perseverance and grit happen.
And how long do the kids have to, I mean, because I know there's a time limit for the big TED Talks.
Certainly 18 minutes.
Yeah. But what about kids? Because I noticed that, in the first place, they're very articulate and intelligent. It's like wonderful to hear them like that. But how long do you say to them, okay, you can do a TED Talk and you have 10 minutes to do it in, and then go for it, and then you have a faculty advisor that kind of works with them, I'm sure.
Well, no, what we do is, for logistics as well as for feasibility for them, we do for our students about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But
that's probably a lot for kids.
And what they do is, it goes through their English class. So first we do all the mindfulness. It's really almost like psychotherapy. You know, saying, what's your talk? I think I told you I had this one little girl in 8th grade, and she said, I want to do a talk, I want to do a talk. And she said, well, I traveled last summer. I said, you know, I did that. And then we looked at each other, and I said, your name? And she said, her name is Michelle Pfeiffer. And so she did
my gosh.
an incredible talk, not about what it's like to be in 8th grade and share your name with an icon, and how you
found the hook.
And how you own your identity within that.
Yeah.
You know, so we have things like that, but then they develop perseverance and grit because they're not writing a critical essay on To Kill a Mockingbird, although I'm an English teacher and I'm all for writing critical essays on To Kill a Mockingbird. But they want to edit that thing, and they want to practice it for 30 hours because they want to get up there.
Yeah, they're amazing, and you can really go to their website. And your website, I didn't think this was the website you gave me to find the talks. Is this the same?
So soulstoriesdna.com is a website that I've put up, which kind of hashes out the curriculum and my thoughts about it, and has select talks. But you can also go simply on a search to TEDx, the Benjamin School, and go to our first event, which was themed Pentimento, and our second event, which was themed Muthos. And this year's coming up event is going to be called Sapir-Whorf, which is a theory of language. But what I'm interested in, which is more relevant to our community, is the fact that I would like to do one of these events up here.
How can we make it happen?
How can we make it happen? We need cameras, and we need a place to film. But what I'm doing is, and I can't confirm, but I have some schools and a kind of interesting mix of schools who would like to do this with their students.
I think it'd be great, yeah.
And we would do all of this. We would cultivate their stories. We would get them to practice.
Would it be a summer program, or you would do it all year, or how you would oversee it, or?
Yes, I would oversee it. So for the time being, I would like to see it happen as something that begins for the summer and culminates at the end of the summer. And certainly when that's all you're doing, instead of running a whole school curriculum, that's very feasible. And right now we're talking to a population that does have some underserved children, and then one that isn't so much so. And I think it would be lovely to bring those voices together.
Absolutely. Are you familiar at all with Children of the Well?
No, I'm not.
This is a storytelling for kids from internationally, you know, to tell
I'll
their
have to look
stories.
into that.
I will. I'll send you excuses while we chat.
We're just talking.
But it's when you were telling me about that, Children at the Well is a wonderful program.
Oh, I'll have to look into
and
that.
I'll get that information to you. But anyway, if you feel that you know of schools, or maybe your kids are going to school, that you think this would be a great idea, talk to their administration, contact Christine here, and maybe we can make this happen, because I think it would be a good thing to make happen. You can work through the libraries, and there's a lot of, we are enriched in this community. You know that. You come here for the summer and you see what we do. So we can make this happen.
Love to do that.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Great.
Good. And we've been speaking with Christina James. Dr. James is the academic dean at the Benjamin School in North Palm Beach, Florida.
North Palm Beach,
I get that right. Good. We're going to take a quick break, and I wish you so much.
Thank you.
You know,
You've been lovely.
for that. We're going to take a quick break and find out how you can get your feet wet. No, that wouldn't be the right word to use, but to jump out of a plane? Oh, stay tuned.
We rescue over 500 animals a year here.
Wow. All right, let's go check the view and begin the tour.
Sounds good. Follow me.
All right.
Hey, welcome to the Schoharie Valley, breadbasket of the American Revolution. This valley right here grew over 80,000 bushels of wheat to feed General Washington's troops during the American Revolution. We had 3 forts here to protect the farmers in this valley. And about a year ago, with Hurricane Irene, this valley was all pretty much underwater. Obviously up here on the hill we were high and dry, thank God, with all the animals that we have. And I'd like to show you some of those animals now. Where when stuff comes in, we do medical evaluations.
4, 3,
and
2,
we
1.
Okay, let's see. What kind of courage does it take to jump out of a plane? Have you done it, Mary?
I have
Mary
8
Kenny?
times.
8 times? Oh my goodness. And tell me, I know you don't just jump out, but this is a fundraiser, first
Yes.
of all, for Make-A-Wish. Through indirectly, it goes to Make-A-Wish. You're raising money for them. How do they contact you to see about doing this and raising money?
Well, the way that it started, Wish Jump is an annual skydiving fundraiser for our local chapter, Make-A-Wish Northeast New York. And the way that it started is in 2010, I became a volunteer wish granter for the organization.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's always nice.
So after granting my first wish, I was so moved by the experience, that's what we call the power of a wish, I decided that I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do a fundraiser. But I wanted to do something a little bit more exciting than a bake sale.
Yeah, bake sales are, they're okay. They're okay if you like goodies, but.
So I decided to get some people together, and we would spend a few months raising money, and then we would all go skydiving together. And the first year we did it, there were 9 jumpers. We raised about $8,000, and
So you kind of get sponsors. It's sort of like when you do a walk for something, it's so much a mile. So how high are we, and how many feet down, or what? How does that work?
Well, each wish jumper is an individual that volunteers to do this, and everybody has to raise a certain amount of money. So they can get sponsors, they get friends and family that donate.
Or they can make the big donation.
Right, and then we all come together and we skydive at Skydive the Ranch, which is in New Paltz, and we jump from 13,500 feet. And it's a tandem jump.
13,000.
Yes.
That's a couple miles up, right?
It is a couple miles up.
5,200 and something.
A little bit over 2 miles.
Yeah.
So
you need oxygen up there? What,
No.
I mean, I'm
Just
getting
a
a
lot
little
of
nervous
courage.
because I said I might do this next
you're
year.
going to do
so-
it next year. I've got you on the list. I've already got
I've
you
got
on
to
the
get it
list.
off my bucket list. I'm going to dive out of there.
So over the years, I've had about 90 people that have jumped. Bill Trigg, the CEO of the local chapter, he's jumped every year with us, which I think is awesome. And in the 7 years, this Saturday is the jump. It's always the last Saturday in July. And in the last 7 years, we've raised over $200,000.
Wow.
So the money goes directly to, even though it's an independent fundraiser, which means it's
No
not
handling charges or anything. yeah.
Right. It's not Make-A-Wish that's organizing it. There are people in the community that want to give back.
I know
So-
they do the poker tournaments for them. They do a number of things. Yeah, they
Right.
do.
So, but the money does go directly to Make-A-Wish. And it goes to their wish granting program. So the money is used for granting wishes to wish kids and teens who live right here in, all of the 518 area codes.
Yeah. Well, what I find most intriguing is that you kind of, after granting a wish, it touched you so much.
It did. That's what we call the power of a wish. A lot of people think there are a few misconceptions about Make-A-Wish and what we do. One of them is that the children are terminal. They're not terminal. The children
They may have an incurable disease.
They have a
something.
life-threatening medical
Life-threatening,
condition. So 80% actually overcome their condition. They beat cancer. One of our wish jumpers a few years ago, she was diagnosed in high school with cancer. She had a large mass in her chest. She went through chemotherapy and all the treatment for 2 years. She beat cancer. She was one of our wish jumpers. She's jumped with us twice. She's in some of our pictures. I don't know if you're showing
Oh yeah,
them.
well they've been showing. I think you've been showing the photos too. Yeah, I'm not looking at the monitor. They usually sneak those pictures in while I'm looking at you. So anyway.
So, the power of a wish, after experiencing the wish for her, she wanted to give back. So being part of the Wish Jump fundraiser was one of the ways that she gives back. So the power of a wish is, it's like a ripple effect. It has a positive effect on the child, and then their family and the people around them that see the experience that they have. It's very uplifting. I mean, we've had doctors confirm this, that there is a huge
it's
impact.
a positive, very positive effect.
When you think in your own life, like let's say you're planning a fun trip, you're planning a vacation. I mean, just as an adult, a healthy
Your endorphins
adult,
are zooming up
it's
there.
exciting. So if you're in the hospital and you have people that come in, your wish granters come in and they're like, well, what's your wish? It gives them something else to think about. They don't have to think about, the upcoming surgeries, the treatments. It's, it's just a positive
They have a goal,
thing for them
a
to
different
focus
goal
on.
that they're
Exactly.
Their goal, of course, is to get rid of whatever they have, but on the other,
Right.
but this is the overlay
Right.
that makes life meaningful, or
Exactly.
it gives them that something to look forward to. So the idea of now it's too late maybe for a lot of people to raise the money right now, but looking ahead, what do they do? They go to your website to find out how to do this. Are you going to do it next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
We
just
do
checking.
it every year.
Yeah. Okay.
Our website is wishjump.com, and all of the information is there. My email is wishjump@gmail.com, so if anybody is interested, they can shoot me an email. All the information, including how to donate, is on our website. This year is the 30th anniversary of Make-A-Wish Northeast New York.
Wow.
So our fundraising goal this year is $30,000, and we're very close. So if anyone wants to donate, they can go to our website. There's a big blue button that says
So you
donate.
can take a donation.
Yep.
And you don't have to jump, but you can make
Right.
a donation.
Yep, absolutely.
What amount is expected for the person who jumps to raise? Or is there any limit, or is there any minimum, or what? So
Each wish jumper has to raise a minimum of $1,000.
okay, all right.
Yep. So
Well, that's
and they have a few
reasonable.
months to do that.
Yeah. So if you're interested in doing this because you'd like to do it, first of all, but you'd like to do it for a reason.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the important thing. You're doing it for a reason. You can
Right.
tell everybody else whatever it is, but you're really doing it to help kids.
Yeah.
And when the Make-A-Wish, what is the age group of kids? I mean,
Wish kids are 2 to 18 years old.
2 to 18. Okay, good.
Yep.
What's the most unusual wish you've heard of, other than skydiving? Or
The
have
most
you heard of
unusual. Oh gosh, there's so many really unique wishes. There was one that was in the local news. A young boy, he wanted to meet the Pope. So they were able to get him there to Italy, and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get him to personally meet the Pope. And in a really unique kind of turn of events, he was there, and there was the big crowd. They're outside. You always see the pictures. The Pope actually went through the crowd, and he will touch certain children and certain people in the crowd, and he went directly to this young boy
Without
and just touched
realizing that
him.
that was his
Yeah,
wish?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now
so-
that was a miracle.
Yeah. There was a wish girl. I always like this story. She played this particular video game. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't my wish, but she played it in the hospital, And that was her distraction through all of her treatments and everything. So her ultimate wish was to go out to the company in California.
Oh my goodness.
So she met the people that, operate the company, and she met the staff, and she was able to
That
play
was
a
an
part
unusual
in creating, she was able to create her own original video game with them,
Oh
with
my
the crew.
goodness.
Yeah, so
Well, that is unusual. Yeah.
a lot of people think that it's just Disney wishes,
Yeah.
and that's about 50% because a lot
And
of
some
young
are
kids.
sports. They
yeah.
want to meet a sports figure, and usually they're very generous about that when they do that. So if you'd like to get involved with this wish jump, I got that right.
Yep, wish jump.
Right. Check out the website, Mary's website, and maybe next year you'll be jumping out and raising a little money.
You're going to jump next
I'm
year.
gonna jump next
yeah. I'm going to hold you to it.
He's going to hold me, put my feet to the fire here, so to
We'll
speak.
jump together.
Okay, good. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be talking with Amber about 15 Loves. Stay tuned.
See what needs to be done with some of the different animals and assess their health, and then we move them to other parts of the farm from here, or to the vet if need be.
Oh my.
This is actually a screech owl.
Oh.
This is a full-grown bird. This bird actually came in, a woman had hit him with her car, and he was pretty messed up, but he's coming around pretty well. These screech owls, they come in this gray color or they come in red. One of the smallest owls that you find around here.
Wow.
We'll put him back because we don't want to stress anybody out too
Right.
bad. And then of course over here, I've got
And here we are
couple
back
of,
again. We've
kestrel
been
falcons.
visiting, I guess you'd say vicariously, with the Wes Laraway over at Middleburg and his New York State Wildlife Rescue. And they have a llama rescue there too as well, I understand. But we didn't, I don't know if we got to see those llamas then, I forgot. But anyway, we're going to be talking with Amber Marino here, and she's with an organization that tries to get kids interested in tennis. Maybe is that a good word to say? Or
Sure.
Some kids have never even touched a tennis racket. And what
That's
do?
right.
You say, here it is?
We do. Tennis is the hook. The organization is really about education and life skills. So it's an inner city youth program. We're regional, Albany, Schenectady, Troy, and Rensselaer. And there are kids who want to try tennis or just want to try a new sport, or they just are walking by the park and see some people having fun and they stop in. And so we offer them a safe place to be during the summer as well as all school year. And the whole program is free. Every tennis lesson is free. And every tennis lesson includes what we call an off-court. So there's always a life skills and an education portion to everything we do.
So this is a real program that you've put together. You're the executive director.
I didn't put it together, but it's been around since 1990.
Yeah.
And we were able, luckily, our founding board was able to bring in Arthur Ashe actually at the beginning.
I remember, yeah.
And so
I remember when he was here.
yeah, and he was here to get the program started. So we actually still have documents, and we still do some of the same things that he brought in 1990, some of those same topics. We're talking to the kids. I mean, things have changed a little since 1990. You know, there certainly wasn't an internet safety off-court back then. But, you know.
Well, when you talk about kids, how young do you, because I noticed some of the pictures, they look pretty young.
They are. Yeah, we start at 4. And
How do they get the ball over the net? Listen, I have enough trouble getting the ball over the net. How does a 4-year-old get?
Well, we started cheating a little a few years ago, and we have these foam balls. So
Okay.
it's a little bit easier. They have smaller rackets. There's actually smaller courts. Schenectady actually is the only place from New York City to the Canadian border that has permanent 36-foot tennis courts, these mini tennis courts at Michigan
okay.
Avenue Park. So we built those 5 or 6 years ago.
So that's better for kids, because I know
So, yes.
it's tough to get the ball over there.
It
you know.
is
And then,
tough.
yeah, just.
Yes. But they have a lot of fun trying.
I know they do. They do.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those dispensers? The ball comes and they keep trying to hit, or
We call them instructors.
yeah.
We-
Oh, they're real people.
They're real people, yeah.
Okay.
But now we have the kids working with each other a lot. So we work with groups usually. So the kids are tossing to each other or even just rolling to each other. And we try to get them, we use caution tape, so there's no net, there's no barrier in between, so they can hit the ball back and forth a lot faster.
That's cool. So the
Yeah.
kids do learn. Do you find that kids come back, or I mean, they kind of get hooked?
They do.
Yeah.
Luckily, we
Yeah.
have.
And they love it.
They do love it. Luckily, they love to come back. Families come back, and for kids who are really interested and just can use a little extra something in their lives, we've got what we call an excellence program. So we've got about 40 kids who we work with year round, and their goal is to get to college somehow through tennis, not necessarily to play.
No, but that's nice.
And they, so far, 99% have done it. So
Really, that's wonderful.
it is wonderful. And they go on, they become our instructors usually. So most of our instructors, I think this summer, all but one of our instructors have come up through the program. And we train them. They do a lot of volunteering when they're younger, and then they go through a long training, and they're out there working with the kids now.
How did you get your funding? Because it seems to me that this has got, I mean, tennis balls aren't cheap.
Tennis balls aren't cheap, especially the foam ones,
Yeah.
as it turns out. We do whatever we can. So it is a free program. We have some
Fundraisers,
competitive,
don't you?
we do have fundraisers. We have competitive grants that we apply for regionally as well as through the United States Tennis Association. And we do have one major fundraiser, which is a golf and tennis day at Schuyler Meadows that we call For Love and Money. So that's a lot of fun. Other than when it's rained out, which has happened
Well,
more than we'd like to.
It occurs. My one question is, because I have never mastered this at all.
Uh-oh.
I cannot keep score. It's like somebody else keeps score because I have no clue what any of that means. And
It is confusing.
my husband tried to teach me, and it was like, I still don't get it. So how do you keep score?
You can.
Do you teach the kids to do
We
that?
do teach the kids.
And they learn?
And they learn. It's really, I mean,
I'm not
it's,
saying much for me, I'll tell you, because I don't get it.
no. It is a little confusing because it's not 1, 2, 3, 4,
Why
which it
don't you
should
do-
be.
And we used to play tennis. I go, okay, you got 1 point, I got 1-1, and they go, no, and I go, listen, let's keep it simple.
Somebody actually just asked, and I completely made this up, but I said, you've probably hit the ball 15 times before you get your first point. So that's why I have no idea if that's true. I made that up, but it sounds good, right?
It sounds good, I believe it.
Yeah. The first point is 15, and
Okay.
love actually means nothing, 0.
Oh, okay.
So our name, 15 Love, means we're giving kids the advantage. So they've got 1 point. But
okay.
it's 15, then the second point is 30, the third point is 40.
See, I mean, come on now. This is not
It's
simple.
not intuitive.
It's not intuitive.
No.
15, 30, 40, right?
Right.
And love.
And then hopefully you won the game by then.
By
But
then, yeah.
Otherwise, you have to keep going back and forth. You have to win by 2 points.
Yeah. I don't know. I know.
Then it gets
But I think tennis is one of those sports that is a lifetime sport.
Right. And that's one of the reasons that our founders chose tennis. And the other reason is it's both a team sport and an individual sport. So what you learn on the tennis court is just profound. I mean, you've got to learn. There's no coaching in tennis. So there are no timeouts. There's no coaching. You can't talk to your coach on the side. You've got to find it inside you. You've got to get through that match in every point. So we teach the kids certainly how to hit the ball over the net, but we also teach them what to do when they didn't hit the ball over the net and when they lost the point, when they lost the game. How do you reset yourself to then go and, play better? And that's such an amazing lesson for life. So,
And if they play doubles, then they've got to learn to play.
and they
with
have
team.
to learn, right. And also there's, team tennis. So every point, every game you play matters to the whole team because every point matters. So although you're playing individually, the team matters. So there are a lot of ways that they learn as a team. And everything we do is as a team. They're all great
I just think
lessons.
it's great
So,
to get kids out doing, whether they're playing, tennis or golf. Sometimes it's golf. They try
Right.
and learn that
Right.
game. But golf and tennis, both of them are lifetime.
They are.
Except I understand that now pickleball is starting to pick up a little bit.
Pickleball is big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
but-
has to do with the.
It does, yeah. I'm not too familiar. I know a little bit about it, but it is getting a lot more
They
popular.
say it's for the
so
older because it takes a little less.
a little less on your knees, I think.
the
Yeah.
knees, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
if you want to learn more about 15 Love, which is 15-0, I guess. Now I know that, okay, but I won't remember it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just like youth tennis, you can certainly support them financially, or you can certainly go in there and maybe watch some of the matches or go to the park and cheer the kids on. I think it's great. Go to their website at 15love.org and you can find out more about it. Find out how you can help, and Amber Marino will certainly tell you how you can help. Right? Good.
Yes.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank
Such
you.
a pleasure. I'm Ann Perla. We're going to take another trip out to over to Middleburg and take a look at that rescue. Stay tuned.
Yeah, if you Google me, you can see that I've been around for a while. And actually, animal rescue groups and preservation and conservation groups all know who I am. I just did a show a couple weeks ago where Jim Fowler of Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom was a presenter after me. In here, I have some baby bats that I've been working on. And we feed them every 2 to 3 hours. And we do quite a few baby bats. We're one of the few facilities in New York State that does quite a bit of RVS, or rabies vector species, which is a special license in order to do. And I think baby bats are the neatest thing ever.
Well, it's just amazing. Just seeing this baby bat, it's just
And they come in,
amazing.
they're about the size of a thumbnail. And they're about...
And here we are back again. Now, who doesn't need a filing ferry to take some of the load off? And right now we have Carrie, filing ferry, with us. And she has a business that actually tries to help you get organized. She brought lots of photos so that she's going to show us some of the photos. But right now we have her in person. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Ann.
Yeah. And what did you brought some stuff? And tell me how does somebody decide they need you? I mean, anybody looking in their own house probably says, I really need somebody. But what makes them take that extra step?
A lot of times people have an event coming up or a situation that prompts them to want to make a change. You'll see some pictures that I had sent ahead. One of them, the person was...
Maybe we could, well, let's start showing the photo and then you can
Okay.
talk about them. How's that? Would that
Okay.
be okay, guys?
So
There we
in
are.
this situation, I
There's
was
2
called
pictures here.
by a family member because the person was tripping a lot and they had so many obstacles that they were tripping, and an ambulance was coming for lift assist frequently. So
Oh.
a family member thought they could really use some
There was
help.
just too much stuff around.
There was too much stuff around. So we downsized some stuff, we donated some stuff, and we reorganized. And most of these pictures are from that same house.
Oh, the same house.
When you get to the after pictures, you'll see what a big difference it is. And I help them maintain the house. I don't
Okay.
just leave at the end.
Okay, now this looks a little bit more organized.
That is absolutely more organized. That was the part, that room was where the wife wanted to focus first. That was the part bothering her the most. So we started there. Look at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Much more functional,
Yeah,
much safer now.
Well, sometimes
Hygienic.
you just need another eye on it because
Yes.
you're living in it, so it's kind of hard to see.
They call that clutter blind, actually.
Oh, okay,
There's a term.
clutter.
And if we keep going to the pictures, that's still the same house in an after picture. Yep. The one on the right there, or is that stage left?
Well, no, they're seeing, that's what they see on the screen.
The basement picture, that family was preparing for a move, and they hadn't listed their house yet. Their garage looked like that. Their basement looked like
And
that.
we all know that you've got to declutter before you show your house.
You've got to declutter. Well, it turned out that basement had been like that for the past 8 years. They had lived
so
in
it
a
wasn't
house.
like they were...
No, they moved before, and they just put everything in the basement.
And they didn't unpack.
So they unpacked the things they needed. Then they bought more of what was down there. But we went through it. You'll never guess what we found in those boxes.
Gold? No. Box of gold.
We found the deed to the house. We found the husband's social security card.
He
He would not have been able to sell the house if we didn't find those things, right?
Right.
So not only had the mom kept all of the daughter's clothes from all the years, but we found really important papers.
So you have vintage clothing.
We did a lot of donating,
Yeah.
a lot of donating. They had a very large yard sale, and they were able to have the house prepared for sale and meet their goal of moving in a timely manner.
Well, sometimes, don't you think it's just so overwhelming because if you've been living in a house, say, for 40, 50 years, and now you're going to downsize, and you've got all your kids' sporting equipment, and you've got the pictures, and you've got the files, and how long do I keep my tax records, and how long should I keep receipts, and so you have all this stuff, and it's just overwhelming.
And that's really why I started the business. I saw a lot of my friends were helping their parents when the parents had to downsize, and I saw them getting dumpsters and talking about where to donate and how long to keep things, and I thought, no one wants to do that by themselves.
No.
And I had been teaching before. I'm trained as a
special
special ed
ed,
teacher. I said, I want to make my own hours. My kids are still young. I want to make my own hours. So I started the business.
And you're overwhelmed.
I love the business. I feel like I do more teaching now than I ever did in a classroom.
So now you brought a few things with you. So let's talk about.
Sure.
And you have something on the floor.
Well,
All right. Let's go here.
If you were to ask me what tools I couldn't live without, these would be the two things.
Okay.
I'm always walking around labeling, and I tell people,
I label everything.
if we've
everything.
gone through a box but we haven't labeled it, we're going to do it again, and we don't want to waste that kind of time. So these are generally in a pocket with me.
Just like the carpenter, you got your little.
I do, actually.
Well, I got one of these from my daughter. It doesn't have the drawers in it.
It doesn't have the drawers.
No, it doesn't have the drawers, but that's okay. I have used this every day for 20 some odd years.
So I see a lot of people in the chronically disorganized population, or just people that have too much mail coming in. And so this shows you to what day for each day of the month, and you put the bills in by what day they're due. Mine has a little extra spot for those extra things.
Okay.
And I tell people,
I have a piece of glass that I put in there. The extra stuff goes on the other side of the glass.
Oh, that works.
See, so it doesn't get mixed in with this. And I put all my cards here that I'm going to mail for birthdays and
concert tickets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Doctor's appointments, sometimes you have to bring that lab work slip. Those go in here. I'm sorry that you don't have the drawers.
those little things.
Stamps and checkbooks and pens.
Well, I have a roll top desk, so I have plenty of space.
Okay. And then I do a little bit of work with students.
Is that a timer?
This is a
I
time
use
timer.
a timer all the time. Gosh darn, I should come get a job with you.
So people can see how much time is passing instead of, or how much time is left on a project. A lot of people are time blind. They don't realize how long it takes them to do things.
I use a timer all the time. Basically, when I'm working at my computer, a lot of times I'll set that for 40 minutes so that at the end of 40 minutes I get up and I go take a load out of the washer, or I do dishes, or I weed whack or do something for another 40 minutes, and then I go back in and work. Or else I'd be behind my computer for 24 hours straight.
And we're trying to get people to do
Moving.
exactly what you're talking about. Move the body, do more than one thing. This is another.
That's okay.
It does work, yes. I'm switching a lot of clients over to the dispill method. I see a lot of people who have, especially the elderly population, who have a lot of medications. And so the pharmacy that I use, and this is a sample one that they give me, will package it. It says the medication, if it's a morning medication or a nighttime. And she tells me she can fit up to, I think 11, she says, in each square.
You put them in there, and they usually use M&Ms to show.
Yep, and we got some
in
Swedish
a previous
fish.
life, I used to get these from different companies that I'd have to approve that they were used, because you can't always mix some medications can't be mixed together. So it was kind of interesting. So this is really anything, I'm speaking as a pharmacist now, anything that can make you take your medications when they're due and at the proper time and not forget to take them is so important. Believe me, it's so important. And then you know if you haven't torn it off, you haven't taken it, right?
Right.
Great,
Now-
great idea.
And if you need to remember what medication you take, if somebody's asking you, or if an ambulance
It's
comes,
right
you
up there.
just bring this with
You
you.
got to have everything labeled.
Do you have these at home?
Those, yeah, I have them. I just put them under a couch.
Well, I use these when we're staging a house to get ready for sale, and I have to rearrange furniture so we don't scratch the floors.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but those are great. I put them under a couch that is kind of heavy, so
Exactly.
but it works perfectly. So anyway, if you want to learn more about getting organized, this is the lady you want to talk to, Carrie here, and I'm sure there's other companies that do this as
There
well.
are.
And I'm not, putting one above the other, but Carrie happens to be here, so we're talking about that. And she talked about these as being her go-to things. My go-to things is duct tape and WD-40. I have that. That's my go-to.
I'd like to say one more thing about my colleagues, if I can.
Go.
we meet locally. We have a group called Saratoga Organizers and Stagers, and there's probably about 12 active members. We refer each other all the time.
Yeah.
I have a niche of working more with chronically disorganized and special populations. I don't do estate sales. I have a couple of people
That
I
will
refer for
do 'em.
those.
Yeah, see.
I don't do things like kitchen design.
Yeah.
We have an organizer who used to be a kitchen designer. I refer those jobs to her.
So they work together.
We
So,
absolutely
yeah.
love to work together.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Carrie,
you.
for being here today. We're going to take another quick break, and then you're going to find out how you can have a great time and not worry about parking or driving. Stay tuned.
The thumbnail, and they come in and they get quite a bit bigger over a course of a month or two. Now, baby bats are called pups, and they would actually ride underneath their mother's wings.
I'm gonna get
And-
a real close up. Hold
Okay.
that little
They're
baby.
called
I'm
pups.
gonna come way in. I'm gonna come way in on that little face.
And they would be riding underneath their mother's wings, and sometimes they fall out, or
Now, how old is this baby bat?
I would say this baby bat's got fur. I would say he's probably about 2.5 months old at least.
And what his size? Half size? A third?
Oh, he's probably a third of his overall size. As you can see,
Well, who doesn't like to take off and have a great day and not worry about driving or parking or if you want to have a drink? So here's a gentleman who's decided to put together a little package called the Tech Valley Hospitality Shuttle, and we're going to find out where he's shuttling to.
All right, so we actually.
Trent.
How are you doing?
Yes,
and
good
thank
to-
you, Ann, for
yeah.
having me. And
Sure,
the
tell us
whole
about
team. Well, so Tech Valley Hospitality was started as a hospitality-based shuttle service. We started off working with hotels. We wanted to give the guests a reliable transportation source.
So they want to go to the mall, the hotel will provide that, yeah.
I started in the hospitality field, and I was a general manager. I realized no hotel in Schenectady offered airport shuttle service.
Really? Isn't that
Correct.
funny?
Correct. So I said, hey, we could bridge the gap and be that company. Well, quickly we just blew up, and we realized there's actually a need just to transport people in bulk. So we started doing jobs for like GE, Proctor's Theater, Union College, all sorts of corporations, and but never losing focus of being the hospitality-based sort of service. So what we came up with was a package that we're offering, in which we will be transporting people to and from Schenectady and Saratoga. Wanted to kind of shrink the world a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it's called what, Summer 17, huh?
Summer 17
Yeah.
package, that's correct. And so the Summer 17 package is something we're offering on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, in which we offer round-trip transportation from Schenectady to Saratoga. We wanted to pretty much promote safety, no drinking and driving. That's the initiative. I figured we would come with such a low price point that it would be almost a no-brainer. Because I remember those long trips to Saratoga. You want to have a good time, but everyone doesn't always want to not drink, you know?
Yeah. Not only that, but parking's another thing.
Parking, gas.
It's not
correct,
cheap
correct,
to
correct.
park.
No, you're right. And so that's what we came up with the Summer 17 package. Also going along with the No Drinking and Driving campaign, we know the CDTA offers a free trolley system in Schenectady, but they end at 1:30. and most of the bars are still open after 1:30. So what we came up with was a package in which it's called the After Hour Shuttle, and we follow the same exact route, and we only charge $2 a person.
Okay.
And that way we can continue to get people, if they want to bar hop or go to the casino or even back to their hotel, they have still a safe means of transportation. For us, it's all about safety. All the drivers are drug tested. They go through a background check and DOT certified. So it's all about safety for us, and then also connecting with the local businesses. Coming from the hospitality world, one of the biggest things was always connecting your guests to the local area.
Absolutely, and I mean, when I travel, that's what I'm looking for.
That's right. That's right. You want to get to know where you're at.
Yeah.
So what we've done.
So if they stay at a hotel and then they want to go to Proctor's and go to the casino after, they can kind of do that. Okay.
So we actually are working with some local breweries in Schenectady.
Yeah, we got a lot of breweries coming up. Yeah.
And so we're happy to announce a brewery tour.
Okay.
And that's something we're going to be offering to hotel guests, but the general public as well. In about 14 days, we'll have an ad going on Groupon. So check out Groupon and save a little money. We're also working on a wine tour, a wine tour in the Adirondack region. We're doing brewery tours in Troy as well.
So these are kind of exciting little, you're filling a niche where you might find a bus might take a trip like that. You're doing it in a smaller.
Make it a smaller, more intimate segment.
So you could you, now let me ask you, if I had, say, 8 people that we wanted to do something, could you accommodate 8 people?
Definitely, no problem. I like to say no group too big, no group too small.
Oh, really? So you could do.
Correct. So we can do up to 30 people at a time.
Oh, really?
And as little as one. Correct. Because we have a fleet of vehicles, and so we're able to utilize that. We also specialize in airport shuttles. So we do a lot of JFK runs, a lot of
and a lot
LaGuardia.
of people want to go to JFK. They don't want to drive down there, leave their car.
Correct.
And,
it's by the time you pay for parking, your gas, throughway, dealing with the traffic in New York. Sometimes a lot of people find it's just a lot more convenient and easy. We track the flights for you, so we're there if you arrive early or if it gets delayed. And then we also have an app in development with TransFinder.
Oh, that's
in
nice.
which people can actually locate where the vans are.
You're working with Civitello?
Yes. It's all about local with me, you know?
It's all about local. Good. You're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Tech Valley Shuttle, we just want to be that company that's the reliable company. We're actually ranked #1 on TripAdvisor for transportation in Schenectady, and we're just really about connecting the local businesses. We're about being a reliable transportation source. We don't want anyone drinking and driving all 2017. That's really huge for us. And then we
Do you have a website that they can go to?
Definitely.
So let's mention the website is Tech Valley Shuttle. That's a great name.
Thank you. Tech Valley
and you can check out finding a little bit more. But before, we're going to keep talking, but I do want to at least take a moment to tell you who's going to be on next week.
Okay.
Because usually that just goes right out until nobody ever hears it because I am rambling too much. But anyway, we're going to be having Cap Rep, the performing arts production, the one-act plays. That's their student summer project. City Mission of Schenectady is going to be on next week.
Nice.
Mike Sakashio is always a great guest to have on. Classic Theater Guild, they're doing their summer festival out in the Helderbergs. We'll learn about an exhibit from Bradford Smith, who's a local photographer who has passed away. We're going to hear about that. We're going to hear about this, the Proctor's Performing Arts. They're doing Pippin, so stay tuned for that next week. But we're coming back to you. So you're looking at being able to get people where they want to go, and if they want to get involved, do they go to the hotel, or how does that go?
All right, so people can call us directly. The corporate number is 518-203-8748. You can book online, www.techvalleyshuttle.com. Either way, you could contact us, and
do you go to their home or?
Correct.
Oh, so you can do that.
We do
okay,
home
that's what I was
pickup.
wondering if you had to go to the hotel.
So no, we actually do private pickups in which we could come right to your house. People book us in advance. We also do. We really just want to be that niche for the group transportation. So someone could contact us from corporations. Like I said, we do a lot of work with GE and other big corporations in the area. We can do private pickups in groups. We've done golf outings.
So you're not just for the summer?
No, so it's not just for the summer. We're all year round.
We're year round. Okay, you have the summer,
The summer 17.
But it's nice to know that you're here to stay.
Definitely, that's the goal. We plan to be here. We plan to serve the needs. We offer wedding packages where we do for bridal parties, weddings, and the cool thing about us is we're a real shuttle service. So we're able to offer cheaper prices than the
limos,
typical way.
yeah,
Correct,
yeah,
because a lot of times you're paying for idle time.
Yeah.
With us, it's not about we'll get you to where you need to go, and then
you're
we
gone.
could go and do another
Yeah.
job and come
Yeah.
back. So we can offer pretty much really good pricing for people and top-notch customer service. Hospitality is literally our middle name.
That's their name. Okay, you heard it all from Trent. How do you pronounce your last name, Trent?
Broth.
Broth. You've heard all about it, and now they're brand new, and we wanted to get that word out to you. I'm Ann Perillo, your host for Schenectady Today, in and around the Capital Region. Stay tuned next week for another great show.
Thank you, Ann.